with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Morning and happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Molly Samora. We begin with breaking news. U.S. military commanders say they're on alert for more violence by Islamic State on the airport in Kabul. That's why flights of Afghanistan continue today, despite yesterday's deadly bombing that killed at least 13 U.S. soldiers and more than 70 Afghans. The terror group ISIS-K claimed responsibility for the deadly twin suicide attacks near the airport. Thursday was the deadliest day for the U.S. military in over a decade. The U.S. remains committed to its withdrawal at the end of the month, and President Biden is vowing revenge against those responsible for the attack.
We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay. We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation.
More than 100,000 people have been flown out of the country since August 14th, including most of the 6,500 Americans living there. President Biden has now ordered U.S. flags to half-staff across the country. And breaking overnight, the Supreme Court blocked the extension of the Biden administration COVID-related eviction moratorium. The High Court's action allows evictions to resume all around the country. A majority of the justices ruled late Thursday that the only way the eviction moratorium could continue was if Congress specifically authorized it. The unsigned 8-page decision says the CDC exceeded its authority in preventing landlords from evicting tenants for unpaid rent. Congress imposed the original eviction moratorium, which former President Trump ordered the CDC to extend several times. When Congress failed to take action again, the Biden administration issued a new moratorium, which the court effectively struck down on Thursday. And the ongoing debate over face masks in schools is the focus of our back-to-school coverage this morning. One day after Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf once again called for a statewide mask and school mandate, Republican leaders in Harrisburg are rejecting that request. GOP leaders in Harrisburg say they're standing firm in their position that when it comes to mask mandates in K-12 classrooms and child care centers, they say local officials are better positioned to make those calls. They sent out a letter to Governor Wolf on Thursday, turning down the governor's request for the legislature to go back in session immediately to pass a statewide mask mandate for schools. Wolf has been saying for months that he favored leaving the mask decision up to local officials, but he shifted that position this week. Pennsylvania COVID-19 caseload has increased from less than 300 cases a day to more than 3,000. And the list of canceled events because of COVID is growing this morning. Now, 2 games on this weekend's high school football schedule have been called off. The Fort LaBeouf game scheduled for tonight is postponed. The Bison were set to play Slippery Rock High School. Erie News Now has confirmed it's because of COVID-19 cases within the Fort LaBeouf football team. District officials say that so far the cases are just within the team. They say they're working with County Health Department to identify any additional cases or close contacts. It comes just after Mercyhurst Prep called off earlier this week its season opening football game because of several reported COVID cases among their players. And so could this be the start of a trend that we have into the first weekend of the new season? Well, there's a big matchup scheduled tonight for Cathedral Prep against Erie High. Now, the Friday night lights are back tonight and will be as normal as they can be during a pandemic. Last year, fans were only allowed to attend from the home team. This year, everyone can come watch the game. Erie School District tells Erie News Now before traveling to tonight's game, even though it's down the road, football players will be required to wear masks on the school bus. Executive Director of Operations Neil Brockman informs us that some of the mitigation efforts in place to keep their student athletes safe.
We do that with all of our athletic teams. So when they come in, there's about 5 or 6 questions that we ask every single kid. And based on the answers to those questions, we either let them in or we don't let them in.
And if you don't feel comfortable or can't make it to tonight's game, Brockman says you can always live stream it right from your phone. And on the same day that COVID outbreak forced the cancellation of their school's football game, a group of parents in Fort LaBeouf School District gathered to protest the county executive's mask mandate in schools. Several parents and even a few students rallied outside the Waterford Hotel last night. They believe they should have had an Erie County Executive Kathy Dahlkemper's decision to mandate masks for all children in all schools.
I want to make sure that my kids, when they know that they don't believe in something, I want them to stand up for it. I want them to be loud and express their opinions. I don't want them to back down. You know, my kids don't want to wear masks because then they say, you know, I'm not sick. Why do I have to wear it? Why do I have to go to school and wear a mask all day? You know, they want to have me be their voice.
Despite those parents' concerns, every Erie County School District has indicated that they plan to follow Erie County's new mask mandate. And we want to bring in our David Walter. David, it's a hot one out there. What are we expecting for our Friday?
Well, we got more heat coming up this afternoon. Should be relatively dry along the lake shore, but we are still looking at that chance for maybe a few afternoon storms out there. Right now, hazy sunshine temperatures. They're heating up fairly quickly. 82 degrees in Erie, 76 right now in Meadville, and we have those middle 70s back there into Warren and McKean County, but the mugginess is up. That has really been the story as of late and will continue to be the story as we head on into the weekend. Weather impact index today at a 1. We've got the heat and humidity. We've got more of that sunshine. And we're also looking at that chance for maybe a few storms out there later in the day. And it's really only for those games that are south of Interstate 90 that could be impacted by some of the wet weather. But it looks like a grand majority of those games tonight as we kick off the high school football season should be dry, maybe an isolated shower two for the game between Conneaut and Warren. All right, tropics are definitely doing a lot of talking right now. We are watching Ida. That storm is located in between Cuba and the Cayman Islands. It is a tropical storm with winds of 60 miles per hour. There are hurricane watches in effect for Louisiana. We could be looking at a major hurricane making landfall early Monday morning, really late Sunday into early Monday morning, and then the storm will continue to weaken and really pose a big flooding threat towards the southeastern United States. Most of that moisture is going to stay farther to our south, so I don't really see any sort of influence from this storm, but we'll look at that 7-day in just a moment. All right, futurecast for us today. You can see during the afternoon just some areas of clouds. There are a couple of those storms flaring up, again, mainly away from the lake shore out there towards eastern parts of Crawford County. Of course, we got the Crawford County Fair going on. We could still have a few of those late afternoon showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, still a lingering mountain shower as we get deeper into the evening hours. Saturday, we'll go through kind of a repeat process. You can see once again those storms, if they do develop, will be more so away from the lake shore, but we may see some more storms as we continue into the overnight hours and early on Sunday, so that's something we'll certainly be watching. Your zone outlook for today, we got those temperatures getting up there into the lower and middle 80s. It will feel hotter than that when you factor in the humidity. A few of those afternoon storms towards Waterford, Union City, as well as Quarry, and we'll see them scattered in the mid and late afternoon sky across Crawford County for today. Some locally heavy rainfall, certainly a possibility. And out there in the Warren County, we'll also watch for a few of those scattered afternoon storms. That, of course, will naturally cool us down a bit, but I'll tell you when the forecast cools off a little bit more. Get to that in just a moment. Molly?
Thanks, David. And for many colleges around the country, the new FDA approval of the Pfizer COVID vaccine has prompted them to make it mandatory for all students. Now, over at Edinboro University, that's not the case. Our Elena Jonathan brings us that story.
Low COVID case counts over the summer here at Edinboro University made officials confident this year would be closer to normal.
Then as the Delta variant and the case count started rising rapidly, we had to switch to implement mask mandates.
Indoor masking was brought back this fall at Edinboro. Jim Dahl, the director of risk and safety management for the university, says this mandate was well received by students.
You can look around, you can see students wearing the mask outside. The mask mandate's for inside, but students still wear it outside.
Freshman Rajon Dawson agrees the mask mandate is followed by most people at the university.
No, I think actually everybody's been following it. I think because people have gotten such to like a certain point, like they just seem like you might as well follow it, you know.
Masking indoors may be mandatory at Edinboro, but getting the shot isn't. For Dawson, he doesn't agree with making the vaccine mandatory on college campuses.
I would be opposed to it just because, like, you know, other people who have might have religious beliefs. You know, I don't think like believing that COVID's not real or is a conspiracy. I think that's stupid, but I just think mandating it just to go to school, I don't think that's appropriate.
The university is still encouraging everyone who is able to get fully vaccinated.
Because if they're not fully vaccinated and they've had close contact with a COVID positive person, they are going to have to quarantine in their rooms or off campus in their apartment for 10 days.
That was our Elena Jonathan. This morning we're going to bring back David. If kids are heading back to school next week, is it going to be hot for them?
It's still going to be hot, but actually the trend is downward a little bit with those temperatures. Monday, we'll have more of those scattered storms around. Tuesday, if we would see any influence of what's left over of Ida, it would be on a Tuesday, but it looks like the forecast will be drying out as we head towards the second half of the week, and we're also bringing those temperatures down as well. And if you go to my Facebook page, you can actually see the long-range climate report that kind of takes us closer to the middle of the month. And it looks like we could be having some cooler days ahead. So if you're a summer love and heat fan, make sure to take advantage of the next couple of days. Just watch out for a few of those afternoon storms.
Thanks, David, and thanks everyone for joining us for the Erie News Nowcast. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow. Our next news is coming up at noon on WSE. Make it a great weekend.